when I find a school yearbook group photo from way back when, I like to pick a few of the kids at random and see what happened to them.
Okay.
I picked about 3 or 4 of these kids, and they all ended up being like 70, 80, 90 years old, except one. Have you ever found a picture like this in an antique shop and wondered who those people were or whatever happened to them? Well, us too. So let's find out.
I'm Joey from Forgotten Lines. I found this picture in the hills of Appalachia, right outside the Smoky Mountains, and I wanted to see if James could find anything on it for us. And were you able to find anything out about this picture?
I did. Pretty quickly, actually. We found their names, their hometown, where they were from, how they died, and a little bit about their lives. And also, one of their friends' lives that jumped out at me, and that led me down a pretty big rabbit hole.
Well, now I'm very curious to find out what you found out.
What do you think is the story behind this family? Like, just looking at it, I love guessing the backstories of people before I actually dig into it. And I know a lot of other folks do too. They'll find one of these pictures in a store and they'll say, I bet this person was so-and-so, did such and such. Did anything jump out at you when you saw it? Did you have any guesses on who this family was or anything about them?
Looking at the pictures, it looks like it was like 1920s, which I think that's what it says on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, I like 1920s. I figured probably served in World War I.
Where do you think they're from?
I would assume they were from America, maybe their first or maybe second generation or third generation. I would assume.
What kind of job do you think he had?
He looks like an accountant, or something of that sort.
All right. So this is the Ackles family, and I know that because it says it right here on the back. It says Grandma and Grandpa Ackle and Auntie Jeanette, about 1922. So this actually has a lot of information for us to go for. It has the little girl's name and a last name, a fairly unique last name. I don't know that I've really heard too many people's last name is Ackles. So the only drawback to it is that it didn't have a location on it other than where you found it, which was out in the middle of nowhere, Gatlinburg, pretty much. So I pulled up my ancestry account and I punch in what we do have, which was Jeanette Ackles, born around 1920, and immediately I found a photo. And what do you think, Joey? Does that look like a match?
I'm gonna have to look at the picture. It does, actually. It looks
just like
very, very similar. One looks more like a photograph. This looks like more like a Canon, like a personal. Like this looks like a photographer done it. That one looks like like it's a home camera, like a home Canon.
That's her yearbook photo.
Is it really?
Yep, there she is. Right there, Jeanette Ackle. She was a traffic officer, hall monitor, safety council, office girl, whatever that is, library club, honor society, orchestra, choir. I mean, this girl was doing it all. She was busy in school. So, but there she is. So that gave me my confirmation that we've got the right Ackles, we've got the right Jeanette, and the right timeline. And this was in Gloversville, New York.
I wasn't expecting that.
So from here, we can quickly reference the 1930 census, and that's where everything opens up.
Okay.
But before I get into what I found about the Ackles family, I want to talk about something that I've started doing, which is when I find a school yearbook group photo from way back when, I like to pick a few of the kids at random and see what happened to them.
Okay.
There's something haunting about seeing these pictures of these kids from the 1930s, and it's like, well, what happened to them? Did they grow up? Were they fine? Did they have cool careers? What? I don't know. So I picked about 3 or 4 of these kids, and they all ended up being like 70, 80, 90 years old, except one. Bartle Avery. We'll come back to him in just a minute. His story is nuts. But in this picture, we have Fred and Anna Ackles. Fred was born in 1891, Syria, and immigrated to the U.S. around 1909 when he was just a kid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, they weren't second or third generation. They were like fresh off the boat. Fresh off the boat from Syria. Anna, his wife, is a New York native, and I actually couldn't find her parents before we recorded this video. But Jeanette came along in 1921. So that means that the writing on the back of this picture, which says 1922, is probably off by a couple of years, but it does say about 1921. So, yeah. Fred served in World War I as an infantryman and came home to work with his brothers in a fruit store on South Main Street in Gloversville, New York. And this is what Google Maps shows for the store's location in Gloversville as it is now. And Joey, can you guess what Gloversville, New York is famous for?
I have like three that pop off my head.
All right.
Baseball. It makes me think of Danny Glover.
Okay, so Danny Glover. That's a good guess.
Danny Glover's
was
from
named
there,
after named after Danny Glover.
That's right. Before he was born.
Okay.
And the third, I don't know why. I think of New Rochelle, which is New York, but it's not.
Okay, no. 0 for 3. You struck out. It is known for 100 years, Gloversville, New York was the glove capital of the world.
Like legit gloves.
Manufacturing leather gloves for 100 years.
Okay.
All through the Civil War and right up into the middle of the 1900s. They were huge. They were called Glove City, as a matter of fact.
Hence, Gloversville?
Gloversville.
Like, actually Gloversville, not Glovers.
No, Gloversville. Yeah.
Who would have saw that coming?
All I can think about when I was like typing all this stuff up was an episode of SpongeBob where they go to Glove World and they've got like gloves, this and that, and the balloons. They're so excited about going to Glove World, and I'm like, I know where that is. Fred eventually owned a candy store with his brother Philip and ran it successfully for several years before moving to Maryland. Here's a picture of his storefront. Well, we have to zoom in pretty far. I found this on a Facebook group that was dedicated to Gloversville, and the admin who runs it is very passionate about the town, and we can see a little sign. It's very hard to read, but it says Ackles Shop, and the location of this is where his candy store was. So there it is with all those cool old cars, people walking down the street, everyone wearing suits and sweet hats, with no cell phone in sight, just everybody living in the moment. No seatbelts in sight either.
That's really cool. That's an awesome picture.
I love these kinds of pictures. Yeah.
That's insane that you're able to pull that up on them.
Yeah.
I mean, the candy shop is a step up from this fruit store.
You know,
I think, but you know, not so much in modern times.
If I had to choose, I'd go for the Willy Wonka. He and Anna actually had 2 more kids after Jan. And Jeanette lived from 1921 all the way to 2003. She became an airline stewardess and married a man named Edward O'Connor.
This is the daughter.
Yeah, the little girl in the picture, she married Edward O'Connor and lived all the way to 2003. They created their own realty business in Port Charlotte, and they ran that for several years. At the time of recording this video, I've already reached out to the direct descendant of Jan, and I'm hoping to get the picture back into the family.
Okay, so I was way off about my guess. So how did this picture end up in Gatlinburg from New York?
So glad you asked. Turns out, their other daughter, after this picture was taken, Elaine,
Okay.
she named a fella named Ronald Bowl?
Oh, I was going to say Weasley.
I got nothing for that. Okay. I'm not even going to try. Okay.
I couldn't resist that one.
I got nothing. That is so bad. I don't have any comeback for that. I'm just going to let you have it. Have that one, Joey. So when she married Ronald, they ended up moving to, you guessed it, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
So
I was kind of right.
you were right there.
Kinda
You were
right.
very close. Their next daughter after Jeanette in this was Elaine. She married a guy. Later on, they moved to Knoxville. All I can guess is that after she passed or after they passed, there was an estate sale, maybe change of hands. Picture ended up in Knoxville, not that far away from where you found it. Okay. So that's how the picture came from some Syrian immigrants in New York to Appalachian Mountains.
That's crazy.
So let's go back to high school, where Jeanette was a senior in Gloversville, New York. Remember Barty, Avery? Remember him?
Say it once more.
I don't. His name's spelled 3 different ways.
Is it really?
I've seen it: Bortle, and Barty.
So just say them all.
What I did.
That's hilarious.
He and his brother Milton became officers in World War II. Bartle was a major, and Milton was a lieutenant. Look at that guy.
Okay.
That's
football star.
That's Bartle. He was an athlete star in high school, big shot, and before he went into the military. And he rose through the ranks super fast to the lieutenant, to captain, to major. And there they are together, the brothers, Bartle Avery and Milton Avery. Some good-looking fellas, and they could pass as twins. I mean, look at those guys. They could be twins.
Yeah.
Notice the cap on Milton. He was a pilot. So Milton died in June 1944 while working overtime to complete his mission quota so he could take an extended leave with his wife and son who were staying in Scotia at the time. He was a bomber pilot, and he was shot down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he was doing, since you said overtime, he was doing missions that he didn't actually have to do, but he was taking on missions.
That's exactly right. They had a quota of how many missions they had to fly before they were allowed extended leave. And he was working extra shifts trying to get through his quota faster so he could see his wife and son faster. And on one of those missions is when he was shot down by German anti-aircraft.
Jeez.
Less than a year later, his brother, Bortle, was killed during the final push against the Germans. So something really cool about these guys that the town did for them later on. The city of Gloversville would host a drum contest, and the grand prize was a big pile of money and a 5-foot-tall trophy named after the Avery brothers. It was like a marching band type contest.
Okay.
Like ROTC type stuff. And the winner would receive, I think it was like $2,000. And
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and there's like 4 to 5 foot tall trophy. I just thought it was really cool that the town found a way to remember these guys and keep their memory going on into the future. Especially since Bartle only had one kid, a daughter, who was 4 months old at his requiem mass.
Jeez.
So she never met her dad.
That's awful.
Yeah. And I tried to find a little bit more about his daughter, but there wasn't really anything there. There wasn't much of a trace of his actual daughter. His wife remarried several years later, and they had a couple of kids, but I couldn't find anything else about his daughter. I didn't have a name or anything like that to go on, so hopefully there's a very strong chance she's still out there, and that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, his daughter's still alive somewhere, most likely. I mean, she would have been born around 1945, so she's most likely still around unless something happened to her. So, Joey, I have to say, thanks for finding this picture. Thanks for sending it over. Thanks for turning me loose on it, because it sent me down about 5 different rabbit holes, and now I've made friends with a librarian in New York.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad it was a score.
And we have now answered the age-old question of where is the glove capital of the world?
Gloversville, obviously.
Now we know. Now we know.
Won't screw up that guess again. So if you like this content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
And thanks for watching.